What's up, y'all? This is Jamel, JML, for Lo-Fi Legacy Beats. So I'm here to talk to you about the Maschine Plus. Yeah, I'm like 2 years late, something like that. Anyway, but what I want to talk about is that a lot of people was complaining that it was crashing and stuff. I'm sure it was because I had bought one used like about a year ago, and it was crashing. I didn't like it. I sent it back. But then I heard, oh, they fixed all that, so I actually bought a new one. So it's not crashing. I upgraded to the 1.4 firmware, but we still have that CPU problem that everybody's been talking about, okay? So let me show y'all, okay? So this particular unfinished beat, I have 11 groups playing, right? And as you can see, is that it's fluctuating between 41 and 44% CPU usage. Now watch this when I stop it. It drops down to 30 to 33% CPU usage, right? So, we 11 groups playing. What I did was, each group that I use a sound in, all the sounds and effects that I didn't use, I deleted. Okay? So that's how I'm staying under 50% CPU usage with 11 groups. So there is a workaround. Also, if you multi-sample like contact sounds, because if you load the whole contact instrument, it's going to take up a lot of your CPU. Okay, and that's what I noticed with the Akai Force is that they both are like flip flop, right? So you have enough CPU here, but don't have enough RAM. You have enough RAM here, but don't have the CPU power to run all the different effects, basically. Basically, that's what that is. Okay, but the workaround is what I said. Is if you make your beat, the sounds you don't use, and those effects associated with those sounds within the sound part of the group, you delete those. Now, if I go to the group part, I still have all the effects for the group. But I'm sure if you delete all of those, it would go down, but then that might make your music kind of sound dry, and then you have to go back and put in effects. So even with leaving the group's effects on, it still puts it below 50%, 30, 40% CPU usage, okay? With 11 groups playing. Now, I also learned that if you sample sounds from records or whatever, it does not affect your CPU at all. Okay, or if you multi-sample external instruments, it does not affect your CPU, or if you were sequencing them, it don't affect the CPU. But if you don't multi-sample the built-in synthesizers that are in here, like Monarch, Contact, it will bump your CPU up really, really high. Okay, because one time I had only 4 groups playing, but it was a couple of massives, couple of Contact, and it had my CPUs with all the effects on the sounds in the group. It had my CPU up at 100%. So now I don't know if Native Instruments missed this, or with research and development, you should know, like, okay, let's test this out and see what happens when we do this and do that. And I'm sure they've seen it, but why would you put it out like that and you've seen it? But, it's like sometimes, do a company have enough money to go back and, and make new boards and add a better CPU? Probably didn't. Who knows? I don't know. But, they put it out, and I'm sure they knew, but I'm sure there's a fix for this too. I mean, I don't think I work on computers. Being a person that works on computers, you don't have to go out and make a whole new machine. All you have to do is go back to the drawing board and say, okay, this CPU wasn't right, but we made it with this particular motherboard. So come out with another motherboard with a more powerful CPU that goes to it, that will work with the Maschine Plus now. You don't have to bring out a whole new one yet, at least. And you probably can save money that way by just selling that new motherboard with that CPU that we can install ourselves. I know how to do it because I work on computers all the time. So I fix electronics all the time. So that's my fascination with this equipment. It's the technology behind it that lets you make music, which is the crazy part, you know? And I like music, but it's not a big deal as far as, you know, making music. But the technology is kind of fascinating to me. But that's the way you get around this broken CPU situation. That's what I'm gonna call it, you know? But other than that, like I say, I got this whole song with this whole beat that's not in song mode yet, with 11 groups playing. But as you see, I got, so that's minus, so 10 groups playing because I don't have nothing on this yet. I forgot all about that. So 10 groups playing, okay. But that's your way around it, people. By multi-sampling, you want certain sounds from software or hardware, or you want to use a certain sound from Contact or Massive in here, Monarch. Just multi-sample it and play it back the way you want to play it. And then sampling doesn't mess with the CPU. And then when you're making your beat, just take the effects off of the sounds that you're not using. Delete those sounds also. And that'll keep your CPU usage down. And you can make how many tracks you want to make as far as, you know. I don't know how far, I haven't went to the point of testing how far I can get by doing that. But I know making hip-hop music, you don't need that many tracks. I mean, come on, back in the day, it was only, 4 tracks when you make hip-hop music back in the day. Now, you might have 8, 10 tracks, but so this is Jamel. That's JML. Peace for Lo-Fi Legacy Beats. I'm out. Machine is good.